this?
Great.
I'm going to work on my quads for a minute. Roll these out, right? How's that? Is it too much? Now, how big and broad are my quads compared to your calf? Because, I mean, it covers almost the bottom half of your leg. Now, I don't want to hyperextend her knee. I want to be able to support. Do you see how she's bent? And I'm kind of grabbing here. I'm rolling. Now, would you prefer pressure a little higher up or a little lower?
Both.
Both? Why are you making that face? You're like, I don't know if I want anything.
I do.
I'm going to go a little higher at first. Right there. How's that?
Great.
Not too much? What if I just stack down? How's that?
Good.
Good. Okay. Now, I pick a spot and I go tib anterior. How's that right there? Ooh. Now, I'm going to hook right here. How's that?
Good.
Now, more pressure.
I feel my calf, not there.
Down towards the ankle or up towards the knee? Towards the knee? Right there? Now, what do you feel more of? Where I'm at in the tib anterior or where I'm at in the calf?
Calf.
I'm sandwiching her calf. But Massage Envy says I have one foot on the floor, so I say you can do this. So can you pull your foot back towards your hip? Uh-huh. Lengthen your calf. Stretch for me. Pull back this way. Now point your toes. Move them side to side at the ankle. There you go. Too much? I'm going to slowly back off. You dying? I'm going to give her probably some blood flow for a second because it'll form like a tourniquet almost. It's so deep.
Oh, yeah.
Then I'll work to this lower part. How's this? Good. You want to be careful with their knee. You're not trying to like twist their leg. You're just trying to roll the calf on your thigh. If I don't like this stance and I want something more broad, this is more like pigeon. It's more like pigeon pose because of the angle here. How's this? Way broad, right?
Yes.
Not nearly as sharp as the other one.
Right.
Think about it. Like I just used the top of my quad. Now you're more like in the adductors and then like along the calf. But this is a broader surface, right? Now, if I wanted to work the tib anterior more right here, how's that?
Good.
Not too much? How's your quad?
Good.
Good? Tapotement? Everybody hates tapotement.
Oh, I know.
You just do this to distract them. Not too much? You make small talk? Whatever.
When I'm relaxed, yeah.
Now, up towards the knee or down towards the foot?
Both.
Both? Okay. A little more medial or a little more lateral?
Lateral.
Lateral right there. There we go. So I'm pressing into tib anterior, but her calves, mainly like the gastrocs and soleus, are just pressing down into my leg. This is more broad than when I started with. I just wanted to give you both options. What if you can't comfortably sit like this? Maybe your hips are tight. You need another option. Let's say your thigh, for some reason, let's say you're a little petite person, it hurts your thigh. Put a towel on top of your thigh and then put their leg on top. Does it make sense? Just to cushion it a little bit. And then I'm going to back off for a second. How does that feel?
Great.
You have a new leg?
Yeah.
Good. You guys want to
The
trade?
other is old.
Do you guys want to trade that? Start with the mobilization and the stretch first.
We have just one leg to work now.
How many of you hate chair massage? Why do you dislike it?
It's painful.
It's painful. Does it too much hands and this?
It feels like you're working.
You're short. That's what I hear from therapists. Therapists who are shorter of stature seem to have more issues because they can't get the same leverage to sink down. Now, if you go to a facility and you set up 9 massage chairs and 1 table, what stands out? And I'm in an industry full of tables and I have a mat. What stands out? I did a demo in Houston and there were, I think, 4 or 5 other practitioners. There was like 2 or 3 tables, me on a mat, and another table. I cracked up because all the people who were working on the table, they would hook in and start working, and they turn their head and watch what I was doing. Because at one point, it's on video, Knives filmed this in Houston. I've got a lady upside down hanging off of my feet, and I'm like tractioning her. People have got out their phones, like record. They're like, dude, what the hell is this? And I'm like, the future. I mean, you'll figure it out. You have to create, I think, what's a niche service. Even if you decide, okay, I'm going to do Swedish. I love Swedish. I want oils that are, I don't know, fractionated coconut oil that's treated just such a certain way, and I don't know, maybe it's got CBD in it, it's illegal. I don't know, we'll have to ask Tony Montana about that. Nobody can figure out whether CBD is legal or not. There's a million different ways you can make a Swedish service stand out. The quality of your sheets, the room, the decor, the sound, the music, the lighting. There's a million different ways, but I think you have to make it different. The failure is not to stand out. And I think if you don't stand out, this is how you're going to figure it out. If you don't have any haters, your hustle's got to be stronger. Once I started to get hate mail, Robert, your work lacks theoretical sophistication and physical finesse. I went, I've arrived, dude. Like this guy's made it. Like he's like famous in time. It's like, dude, I won. Like I'm some guy in my garage in Texas. If I can influence a tradition in Thailand, dude, something's going on in the world. Do you guys have any questions about the application to the tib anterior or the soleus and gastrocs that we just did? We really did two versions because we did more like pigeon where your leg is to the side, and we did the other where you're stacked high. They're slightly different. The pigeon is a little bit more on your hip if you're not flexible enough. It's also a little more broad for the client. No questions about that? Now who has issues with their quads?
She does. Amy does.
Amy, do you want a little quad work?
Okay.
We only got about 20 minutes, so I'm trying to buy time.
Okay.
Are you afraid?
A little bit.
Yeah. Why are you afraid?
Because
I'm like a gentle giant. What's wrong with your quads?
I don't know, they're just tight.
Just tight? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna lay down on your back.
Yeah. I went from super pressure all over and then Yeah.
Where's my towel at? My towel vanishing? I got a blue towel somewhere. Does anybody know? Yeah, I moved it around. Some people were borrowing it. So. Do I have a blue towel around there?
Oh, sorry.
Is that mine? Oh, no, it's fine. I just couldn't remember where I put it.
Try to take it home. Souvenir.
So, can somebody grab me a bolster out of that room? Just one of the little round ones. And then with your quads, like, do they bother you at all?
No,
You
it's
don't have
just
any pain or
whenever
anything?
just whenever they get massaged it.
So just like even when I'm pressing like that.
I just put my arm.
There was a couple of spots.
Yeah.
Not all the spots, just a couple of spots.
So I'm just going to lift her up to give her a little space here behind her knees. You don't want to hyperextend people through their knees. How's this?
It's pretty tight
Pretty
near
tight?
my
Okay.
IT band.
And then is it like, do you feel like it's more tight towards the knee or is it more tight up towards the hip?
Towards the knee.
Towards the knee?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to stay away from the knee first. The muscles tend to taper. This tends to be this thick junction, right? This is where it's thin. If I come in and press right in here, that might be a little bit much. I'm also going to do this just to dampen because I can tell as I'm jostling her, she's just like slightly apprehensive. And here's the thing. I know for a fact I can deliver too much pressure. I have a little bit of sadist. I think it's funny. No, you laugh. I know you're sadist. I know about you massage therapist. I know. You're like, oh, I'll show you. It's really just trying to give her enough so she can relax, release, and unwind. Here's what will happen. The longer you study with me and the deeper the compressions become, you can never go too slow. You can go too fast, but like slow, if you can slow down and breathe and just hang out and just, man, their bodies just, whew. The high skill is the deeper compression and you get them to breathe. And I'm still working on that because in a 3-hour session, if I'm like, breathe, it's like it gets kind of militaristic after a while, you know. Because you get into stuff and they're like, I don't want to breathe. I don't want to let that go because I don't know if I'm going to be me anymore. Like that's like deep held, tension. So I've covered her. She probably feels more safe, I think, as a woman. Like I've generally, covered her. I'm going to slowly come in with the shin. Now, when I come in with my shin, one of the things I want to note is this. This tibia is real sharp. This point, man, that's mean, okay? Now, if I turn my leg just a little to the side and I'm right along tib anterior, that's a little more broad. She's probably going to be able to take that just a little bit easier. So you just have to be aware of like what part of your body you're using. And I'm to the side of the table. How's that right there?
That feels good. It's more broad than your
Okay.
hands were.
Because my fingers are pointy.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. You remember Bruce Lee, and he would talk about those, you ever see those videos? He's like playing ping pong with nunchucks and stuff. I don't know if that was faked or not, but it's always impressive. Do you see those like 5-inch punches he does? Where he like hits somebody, blows him back in a chair? One of the things I realized about Bruce Lee and martial arts was, as a master, what he learned to do was shrink wrap his tissue around his skeletal structure to deliver the maximum amount of impact with the least amount of effort. And what I'm teaching you is to deliver the maximum amount of impact with the least amount of effort. But it's like the gentle martial art, right? Now, I've been sinking in this whole time. Is that too much?
Oh, no.
Would you like a little more?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm just gonna lean in with my forearm right here. How's this?
That feels good.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not gonna shear just yet. I'm going a little slower with her just because she was maybe a little apprehensive at first, and I don't wanna. I try not to initiate that clenching response if I can. Sometimes to find their edge, you will. Now, what happens if I go just a little bit down towards the knee
That feels really, really good.
or up towards the hip?
Down towards the
Okay, so I'm gonna lean right here. Does the pressure change too much? Now I'm gonna use my hand to push. How's that right there?
Oh, that's awesome.
There we go. I'll take awesome. And then now that I'm comfortable, oh hey, look at this. Does that affect the leg at all, or is it still good?
It's still good.
Still good, okay. Now I could work any section of her quad, but I'm starting much, much higher. And then maybe I want to change her arm position. How's that? Is that too rolled open? How's that on your forearm right there?
That feels good too.
What about this?
That feels really, really good.
Just playing with her arm at this point. This is the primary thing. This is just a secondary piece where I'm almost distracting her.
It's very distracting.
Yeah. How's this right here?
That feels awesome.
You gotta have fun in session. They're 3 hours. You gotta entertain yourself. And then if her arm getting to the side, if I hook into her shoulder and a little bit down, how's that?
That feels super good.
Super good. I'll take super good. Now I'm gonna slowly back off.
All right.
What? Anything change with your leg when I backed off?
No,
No, didn't notice anything.
no, it was just, I didn't ping at all.
Yeah, it didn't like make you clench in any way.
Yeah.
Sometimes if the compression's really deep and I just jump out, it's like the tissue almost recoils. It's like it's too much stimulus in the nervous system and they're completely removing it, so I'll tend to back off very slowly. Then I might come in for a second pass and go like a little closer to the knee. How's this now?
That doesn't, it's not shocking.
Not the way it was before.
Mm-mm.
And I've also got the towel down.
Yeah.
So what if I just wanted to use my hand? Do you guys do stuff like this?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, and you already know how to use your forearm and hands. I'm just trying to get you off of your hands as much as possible and just get you to think about how you're going to use your knees and feet. When I was coming in, I wasn't using a knee. I was really using just this broad shin just to lean in. I could easily come down, and we'll try just a little closer to the knee and see how this is. How's this right here?
That feels really good.
Really good? Okay. What about that right there?
It's a little tight.
A little tight? Is that better right there?
Right.
Okay. What if I jostle the other leg?
Then I forget about my quad.
I have conversations with students because there's a point at which I feel like I know stuff clinically because I've done it and it seems to work. I don't know why. Some people will tell me they feel like I'm confusing people's nervous system. Like I distract them by doing other things while I'm doing one thing so they forget about it and their body unwinds. I don't really know what happens. It's a little bit like I have brothers that are littler than me, and they're like, ow, my arms hurt, so I punch them in the other shoulder, and then they forget about this one. Yeah, it's a little bit like that, because when I'm stimulating something else, it's like they forget about this. I want you guys to try the quad work, If you work on someone, and I didn't do this with her, let's say you sink in right here and you realize that they want a little bit more. I'm gonna hang out right here. Can you start to contract and lift your leg? So there you go. And then let it relax.
Oh, that went deeper.
Yeah.
That was cool.
But I didn't start with that because I didn't want to give you
Shock.
too much.
Yeah.
If you were working on someone and you felt like you couldn't quite get an edge, sometimes that's where I'll add the active component. The other option is you take the bolster out and bring them to the edge of the table, put your quad in and have them straighten their whole leg. That's like a pretty massive pin and stretch. That makes me think of CrossFitters. That'll impress them. Yeah, they're like, I want that. You guys want to try this?
Yes.
And you'll probably want something like this. We'll pass this around if you need to use this one.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. And make sure they're bolstered.
We can do your other side. We'll do your other side.
We got about 12 minutes. If we don't finish a trade, it's fine. We'll pick it up tomorrow.